And, yeah. So the input variable shows up here, and we should get these two values. All right. Well, everything is sort of the same as before. What we want to do is store this as a named block so that we can invoke it anytime we want to down the road, tomorrow, next month, whatever. All right, so we'll see what happens. Let's see if it lets me type there. It's pretending to. But it really wasn't. All right, so we'll try Xing some stuff out, see if this thing will show up.
It says you're disconnected.
Yeah, am I disconnected again?
Shows you're blocked.
Sometimes it was just invisible, but I think, right. I tried to keep it alive.
That should do that before me.
What's that?
It did that right before me.
Yeah. Trying to connect. That's a nice start, but we gotta get the prompt.
We actually found that during the break, we had to completely close all the pages of the browser and then open up the browser again.
Yeah,
To work.
it's right. So here we go.
So-
We gotta get rid of the, see, I'm handicapped by this San Diego State obsession. Let's see if this is it. Yeah, there we go. Well, at least we got to see the code. It is flaky enough so that, just because you open up a new browser window doesn't necessarily work. Like I say, at home I sometimes have success with refresh, but it's never worked in this room.
There's probably some.
I did now! See, those of you who didn't believe it ever worked, I'll see an example. Sometimes it works. All right. Generally speaking, when you get this little introduction, the SQL shows up, and there we go. Yay! So upload file, yeah, sure. I gotta do this first, and then this first, and then that, and then this, and away we go. And we've got to store it or nothing's going to work. And let's just chug down there again. There we go. Mstats bubba02.proc. Thank you very much. Upload terminal. Maybe this time. So we're going to start this in an effort to store it. Not good typing. .proc. All right, same principle as before. It's not an SQL, so I have to give the file extension, and then we'll see what it says. Procedure created with compilation errors. I started again and I don't have imp. Okay, no problem. Let's assume that imp is all we're going to need. Before I need a department too, right? So, all right, we'll upload imp.
Professor, you just upload homework one, then you can get all 4 tables at once.
If I had a homework one.
There was one in there.
Brother, was there?
Yeah.
I don't think that's what it has, is it's really. I think you're being optimistic. Here we go. Right, right. I didn't want to do that. If I could only connect Rohan to my machine, we wouldn't have to do any of this.
So quickly.
I suppose it's good to learn a new world. Be good. Wasn't good. I have a plan B, of course, for getting us through this, which is to not try to run everything. It's slow, among other things. I don't know, maybe it's tired.
Very tired.
Behind you. It's like nobody here, dude.
Are you Reggie?
There's not a lot of time left. I'm going to move to simplify life, and you can pursue details later. We're going to assume I stored it successfully, and it said, procedure created, like a good kid. We'll see if this is a file. It is. All right. So what I want to do here is to show you an invocation of a stored procedure. And that's what this is. So, you know, I use global variables, AVG1 and tot to hold the outputs of the stored procedure. And then when I invoke the stored procedure, I supply the outfield department and variables in which the return values will be placed. All right. And then the usual DBMS output, yada yada, to show that I got them back successfully. And it's going to return something like, which comes first? Total, average? Yeah, the average salary is something like $188,000. The total salary is something like $432,000. I did run this earlier today. And it's right, you know, it's the right values for the outfield department. So we know this works. And there aren't going to be as many tests for this. I'm going to try test 2 so we can see what this looks like. All right, so this time I used global variables, and I did bind variables on the inside. So the small variation here is to show that you can return the values into global variables by using them as bind variables. But the code is being executed from inside a PLSQL block. Okay, well that was fun. Let's see if there's a 3. Okay. And this is to show that our fancy friend execute can be used with a stored procedure as well as it can with a stored function. So what we're saying here is, yeah, I can call this, and it will be as if I had run the previous program and I had stuck this line inside a true anonymous PLSQL block with declare begin and end. Okay? Fine. Okay. And of course, when you do that, then you know you're handicapped by this grossly limited print tool, and I don't know any cure for that. Maybe there is one, but I don't know what it is. If there's a test 4, I don't even want to know. We'll take a look. But the point is that the word execute is invocable. And a lot of people use that because, you know, it's syntactic sugar, it's faster. All right, so I want to do an ls then in Rohan and see what we've got. This is the stuff we did on get dname. Up here, down here is the stuff we did on empstats. It's upper left. And there were only 3 tests, and we've seen it all. So anyway, I'll be sending you all of that. I'll send you this as a curiosity. Get side effect dname bubble02. Every once in a while, I get in a perverse mood and decide to try something. And you know, answer a what-if question. So I actually created a function and made one of the parameters in the function an out parameter to see if it was willing to allow me extremely bad form, and it was, and it worked. All right. So hey, if you can have functions with output parameters, who needs procedures? People that like to call a horse, I think. Okay, all right, so the other thing that I want to look at, and you know, be polite for 5 minutes, don't pack, after I say the following words. I'm not going to test this. As in Java, you can create packages of things. And what things can you put in a package? Well, in Java, you would typically put classes in the package, and the package would have data members and member functions, right? In PLSQL, your packages will contain functions and procedures, so that you can bundle things together. All right? Now, I told you about this kind of thing within the last week sometime. If you remember, we had a short conversation about DBMS underscore output. And I said that was a predefined package of certain functions and possibly procedures. And it is. Another predefined package is DBMS underscore LOB. Should write that down so I can introduce LOB tonight. Okay? Has nothing to do with Wimbledon. All right. LOB in the database world stands for large object. Okay? So in addition to things that you know, like varchar2, char, date, number, one of the possible types is LOB. Okay, but you know, and there are variations. LOB is a concept. And one of the actual data types is CLOB, C-L-O-B. Character large object. Okay? And then for those of you into old films, there's my favorite, The Blob. B-L-O-B. Binary large object. Okay? Now, toward the end of the summer, I hope to talk some more about, you know, large objects. you know, every electronic gizmo you buy, you want it to be capable of holding, 1,000 photos, right? How do you do that in a database? Blobs, okay? Pictures are not character data, they're binary. So you typically put a picture inside a blob. All right? Now, it's not trivial to do that. Special handling required. An alternative to a blob, there are two additional lobs. All right? A lot of flavors of lob. There's an NCLOB. That's a clob in a native language, meaning something that probably isn't English. Native character set. So there's a clob, that's English. There's an enclave, there's a blob, and the last one isn't very lobby sounding, it's BFILE, binary file. There are differences between blobs and B files, which cause me to say people usually put pictures in a blob and movies in a B file. Even more data, okay? A big binary file, not just a blob. Okay, so anyway, here's where I was heading with all that, but it's a useful diversion because now I've talked about large data types. Another package besides DBMS underscore output is DBMS underscore LOB. DBMS underscore LOB contains functions and procedures that help you to get pictures or movies into a database table. Okay? Obviously you can't work for, Facebook unless you can do that. Because they want pictures. All right. What we're going to look at here for the next 9 minutes at most is Oracle packages for people like you and I. And like I said, an Oracle package can be used to bundle functions and procedures under a common heading, which is suitable for a set of related functions and procedures, like DBMS underscore output. All right? So if you have a set of related functions and procedures, it's a smart thing to put them in a package. Now, I don't have any great examples of that, but what I'm going to show you briefly is the syntax. Okay, so here we go. These are the two relevant files. I needed a name for the package. The name, and I have O2 on everything. I left out the Bubba. So I call it a six-pack just for fun. There are two key words in creating a package that I use. The same way I use .fn and .proc, I use .pack and .body. Here's the concept. .pack just reminds me that it's a package. And in there, I put function prototypes. I say what the name of the function is, what it needs for inputs, what kind of value it returns. Prototypes of my functions. So that's, C++ does that. They allow you to, collect prototypes and keep them in a common place. So that's what we're doing here. So I'm going to look at six-pack O2.pack, and then we're going to look at .body, and in the body, you put the algorithms that compute the functions. Okay. So in C++, that would be like a header file, a .h, that would be .pack, and a .cpp, which would be the executables. And if that doesn't make any sense, that's okay with me. You don't have to know it. Okay, VI, six-pack, O2.pack.
That's not O.
Not an O. we're not in SQL, and we're not in the interpreter, I can correct. Yay! Okay. So this is what a typical .pat looks like. In this case, I just stored two functions. And I'm assuming that, we want a stored function that returns the restaurant where a given department normally dines. And another function that returns the location in case, we want to retrieve that too. If I were doing a procedure, then I could retrieve them both at the same time, right? Yay. All right, so I'm prototyping a couple of functions here, and these are, typical prototypes. So the input is going to be the name of a person, and the output is going to tell me where he dined, so to speak, the name of the restaurant and the restaurant location, if I invoke both of these. And this time there's no dot, but there's a slash and a show errors. All right, so that's what this looks like. Now we'll look at the dot body. There's a way to do them both together, but I like the separation. And the good news is it's so much detail that you've got to put up already with a week from today that I don't ask people to learn this package stuff. It's just too much of a pain. It's so much syntax. Anyway, here's the function, and I do repeat the prototype, which is pretty normal when you separate. Some languages will allow you to just do the name, and they'll get the prototype from the header file. But in this case, we repeat everything, and then we do we do the execution code here. Now, how do you store these? And the answer is with the word start. So I say start 6pack02.pack start, and it'll say package created. And then I say, start 6pack02.body, and it says package body created or something like that. The response is slightly different, right? But it tells me if I've done good. All right. So these are the two bodies, and that's the name of that tune. But the point is that we can create our own packages akin to DBMS output. You can Google DBMS output Oracle and find out what other functions are in there besides put line. There are like 5 or 6 functions in that particular package. Okay, and this can go pretty fast. I have to remind myself of the wording. This is another little experiment that I made down here. One question is, can I define a function inside a function? You can in a lot of programming languages. And the answer is you can. But then it's not going to get stored as a stored function. It's only going to be invoked within that function. So if I have a subtask and I want to call it 5 times within my parent function, I can create a child function. Well, I was checking on that. You can do it. All right, so let's see. What else do we have? All right, we have a 6-pack, and this is a 6-pack dose, and we'll go through that very fast. Right, it's Spanish night, so this is presumably a 12-pack, right? So we'll take a quick look at that. 6-pack D OS dot pack. And it's just a matter of faith. So in this case, just to sort of prove that I could do procedures, I stuck the usual procedure in here that returns average salary and total salary, and I didn't even bother to put 2 procedures or procedures and functions in here. And, let's see, is there anything else in this photo that I really want you to see? Yes and no. The words ref cursor occur, and that's not here because I'm using it here. It's here because when I communicated to my database with Java using JDBC, I wanted to be able to work with cursors from Java. And okay, so that is actually not important to what we're doing now. I think we're done. Yay. That's good enough.